All right. So I got my friend here, Sharmba Mitchell, two-time world champ, Sharmba Mitchell. I had to practice that. I want to make sure I said your name the right way because I hear a lot of people pronounce your name the wrong way.
All my life, man. All my life, even on TV. So
Yeah.
believe me, it happened.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to be that guy. I'm like, let me make sure I get it right.
Gotcha.
Just for my audience, for those who might know, Sharmba Mitchell has fought over, and correct me if I'm wrong on anything I say, over 60 fights total. Sharmba is a former Olympian, bronze medalist, right?
Well, I got the bronze medal in the Olympics in the 1987 Olympic Festival that was in North Carolina. I lost in the Olympic trials. I was an alternate on the 88 team, but Kelsey Banks was our representative for the 125-pound at that time.
Gotcha.
In 88, and so yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I was the youngest one on the team, and when I didn't make the team, and they came back from so I just turned pro. I couldn't do another 100, and I had 170 amateur fights, and I just couldn't do it a whole nother 100 and something. Wait another 4 years. There was no way.
Yeah, yeah, especially back then. And clearly your skill set was ready for you to go up to the pro ranks, so you didn't have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And some notable fights, man. I mean, you went as far as, from what I understand, 31-0 before you took a loss.
Yeah, 31-0 until I took a loss. And to be honest with you, I beat myself. I was more worried about trying to get a title shot and not training. And I was mad at Don King about something, and we got into it, and I wasn't training, and I went and fought. And I think I trained for about 2 or 3 weeks for the fight. And the big weird thing, I was winning the fight, man. I was winning the fight and just kind of ran out of gas, and and that was it. And it happened.
That wasn't the Kosuzu fight, was it?
No, that wasn't the Kosuzu fight. Nah.
Okay, all right. Because the Kosuzu fight, I believe you hurt your knee, right, or something like that.
Yeah, my knee injury was in the first Kosuzu fight.
Okay.
And then it took us almost another 3 years to fight again, man. And I had to stay down at that 140-pound weight class. That was the killer for me, because the first time I had fought Kosuzu, I was training with Mackie Shilstone in New Orleans. He was my personal trainer, and he does all the big fighters. He does all the combine camps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, Sharmba, you need to move up the weight. Like, you're losing 5 pounds of muscle just to get down to 140 pounds.
Yeah.
And I stayed there another 3-4 years to fight again. So when I lost to Kosuzu the second time, when I say I had nothing, I had nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff.
This sport is rough, man.
Yeah. And to that point, I mean, I feel like a lot of it's about timing, coming up the right way, taking the right fights at the right time.
Absolutely.
At the right time.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. In my era, it was just my weight class was just the weight class to be in. Everybody was in it. I mean, everybody. It was stacked.
147, right?
140. 140.
Oh,
It was at 140 at junior welterweight. It was stacked at that time, and to be a world champion for that long in that weight class, that's just to fight, the guys that I had to fight to get through that, get through that stage.
Yeah, speaking of that, two notable guys, obviously Paul Williams. Paul Williams passed away, right?
Yeah, I fought. No, Paul Williams. He got in a car accident.
That's right.
In a motorcycle accident. He's crippled now. Yeah, he's just handicapped now. I just saw Paul Williams. I saw Paul Williams at when Tank fought down here in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
So me and him, he and I still cool. We still cool. He's still young. It's funny. A lot of people think that I was the young dude, but everybody else was the young people, and I was the old dude. So when I fought Paul Williams right now, I think he might be 30.
Wow.
He might be 30.
That's crazy.
You know, and I'm going to turn 50.
He was really young.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to turn 50. So I fought him that was my last fight. Whether I won or I lost, I was going to retire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I fought Floyd, I was 35. I was ready. Yeah. I was ready to retire, and you know he was only I'm 10 years older than him. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember going into that fight like I was like this is the one fight because that was at the time of Floyd Mayweather. He was coming up through the ranks.
Exactly.
And,
right.
But I always said to myself, like, this could be tricky for Floyd because, in my opinion, Floyd didn't do well with movement. He didn't like guys that move up.
And that was the problem.
He moves around a lot. He's left, he's southpaw. He's got a strong left hand. I'm like, this could be a tricky one for him. Like, what was your opinions on that fight?
Well, on that fight, I just thought that my man, the great old ref, you know, come in and stop the fight too early. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I've been in this sport too long, and I get knocked down. He caught me with a great body shot. I mean, he caught me with a hell of a body shot that, you know, would knock anybody down. Mm-hmm. But I got up and I'm ready to fight, and you call it off. I think that was just premature. And Floyd and I are friends anyway. Mm-hmm. And like he said, man, you hit me with this shot, and I couldn't let you know, but I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like the third round, I think.
I couldn't see anything, but I wasn't gonna let you know that. But you know, like I said, you know, I went in that fight, man. I was actually in training camp to fight Zab Judah. I had just signed the contract to fight Zab, man. And Zab pulled out. So I was down in Florida at my house in Florida, and I was like, man, I'm gonna just stay down here. So I stayed down there. And then a week later, my cousin Nate, which was my manager at the time, I had my own management company. They called me. He said, "Man, you got an opportunity to fight Floyd if you want, man." And so me and Floyd got on the phone, and we was just like, "Man, look, it's business, man. Let's just get it done."
Yeah.
And that's how it was. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because he talks about it now, and he talks about it. He talked about it on ESPN. Said, you know, Sharmbe was one of my hardest fights.
Yeah.
So, you know, but like I said, he was a young dude coming up, mm-hmm. and you know that was his. When you coming up in the ranks like that, you know, you got to get great champions to fight to be able to get that experience.
Yeah.
And I was just one of those great champions that came past through his path to get that experience for him. Right. I've done it to the you know, the fighters, the Bazooka Lamones and stuff like that. Yep. The Rocky Lockridge. I got the, you know, Rocky Lockridge. I had fights against, you know, all them jokers, and you know, that's how you build your character and get up in the ranks.
Right. Yeah, I remember going into that fight. Floyd, you could tell Floyd has a different persona about him when he respects his opponents. And then when he went in the ring with you, because Floyd's a very patient fighter, as you know. Mm-hmm. When he went in the ring, you could tell he was taking his time. He was seeing you were gauging distance with that right hand jab all early rounds. Right. He was trying to gauge that. He was having problems in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was getting you with a couple of right hand leads.
So what his problem was is that when he went back to the corner, he told his uncle, he said, "Man, I can't hit him." Yeah. Why I can't hit him? He said, "Well, go to the body." And that's what he told. Because I was still, regardless of what, man, I don't care how old I'm gonna get. One thing I ain't gonna let you do is you ain't gonna be hitting me all up in my head, all in my face. And you gonna, look, Slim, I could talk to you right now, and I'm very clear, right? Uh-huh. And I thank God every day.
Yeah. You know, that's a blessing, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's a blessing, man. Yeah, I thought that was obviously a great achievement. And I tell people, like, you know, when you talk to people and they're like, oh, you know, he fought Floyd Mayweather. I'm like, this man fought over 60 fights, 31-0, and like you said, one of the toughest divisions, which is still 140, 147 division today, is still one of the toughest.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You were a two-time world champ doing it, so that's some amazing achievements there.
Right. People don't understand. Like, I held belts in 3 different weight classes. I held belts as a lightweight.
Yeah.
When I first started as a lightweight, I held belt at 140 pounds, and I held a belt at 147 pounds. So, you know, I held belts in 3 different weight classes, but I held 2 world belts at 140.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing,
You
man.
know, so it got me into the Hall of Fame and all that. So, you know, I'm happy. Hey,
Right.
look, man, I'm a kid from DC that never, you know, I would have never ever thought that my life would turn out like that and I would have those kind of achievements. I leave a legacy behind, you know what I'm saying? And I leave a legacy just for DC just itself, period. You
Yeah.
know, so, you know.
Yeah, and that gets me to question: what made you get into boxing? Because there's a lot of people don't realize DMV areas has really good boxers.
Yeah, we do, but you know, a lot of people in DMV, man, they the streets take them. Them streets is something.
Yeah.
But I was always one of those kids that always wanted to deal just with sports. So it's funny. I was 8 years old, man, and I was living in Prince George's County in Landover Hills, and I was playing football. My father came past my house and said, "Come on, take a ride with me." So he took a ride. I took a ride with him down to Hyattsville, Maryland, to one of his friends, Adrian Davis, had a boxing gym down there. So I go down there. So I go in there and we walk in there. And he said, "What you think?" I said, "What you mean? What I think?" He said, well, "You think you'll like it?" I said, "I guess. I don't know." It was just another sport to me. I was 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, and all I knew is that all the kids that was bigger than me, I was beating them up. So it didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
And I went into the gym. But the one thing about boxing, man, it shows you discipline, determination, and the work ethic to be a fighter is something, man. And I tell all kids nowadays, man, if you want to box, you better be in 150%, not just 150%. And I say that because I never put like that 150% in because I knew how to do so many other things. I played football. I wanted to always go to school. I was an electrician. I know how to do carpentry work. I know how to do so many other things that boxing wasn't the only thing that I could do, but boxing was the thing that, you know, made me who I am now.
Right. It was
You
your
know what
outlet.
I'm saying? And yeah, it was my outlet. And then, you know, I thank God every day for it, man. Yeah.
And what I noticed about you, Sharmbe, is when you fought and you were at the top of your game, your shape and conditioning was always one of the best. You always came in stacked. It looked like you were always in great condition.
That's funny because on my off time, I would get up to like 178 pounds, 170 pounds, and drop all the way back down to 140. But listen, man, I would eat I was like a little fat kid, but I would eat everything. And that's why right now, and I swear right now, that's why I got to stay in shape. If I don't, man, I get lazy. I'll eat any and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you box, though, what type of training methods? How was your diet? Because I know earlier you talked about working with a trainer throughout your career.
So I always had it's funny, when I became pro and I got up in those ranks and would start fighting world titles and stuff like that, I seeked out Mackie Shillstone because he was the best in the world.
Yeah.
And so I went down to New Orleans and worked with him. He got me a nutritionist and everything. So I knew a lot of things to do anyway because I had been in boxing for so long.
Yeah.
Just my diet always baked and broiled food. And it's funny, I eat that way now still. So I don't eat bad. I don't really eat bad. I go to fried chickens and stuff like that sometimes, but
you
know, if I'm cooking in the house, I don't cook fried foods in my house or anything like that. My wife don't even do that. We bake and broil everything. You know, so being and staying in condition is always the key. And when I went to camp, man, it was always fat camp for me. I always called it fat camp because my ass had to get up and lose so much weight. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right. Did you give some advice to Tank Davis about that? Because I noticed that he's been struggling. I think he's getting better now, but he's been struggling going into camps over the years.
That's funny, man, because when I went down to the gym, me and Tank were talking, and I was telling him, I said, dog, I used to go to camp. Every camp was the fat camp. I would have wetsuits on every day. Listen to me, man. I'm talking about my gym. So my gym in Florida, that was Buddy McGirt's gym. So we would train in this garage. In the garage ain't nothing but all steel, right? You're talking about in Vero Beach, Florida, it's 100 and something degrees outside. So you know it's 100 and something inside. Now, listen, I'm training in wetsuits. I'm sparring 15, 20 rounds in a wetsuit.
Wow.
Listen, in a wetsuit, man. Yeah. You know, if you're an athlete, you know what that wetsuit like.
Yeah.
That's gonna take all out you.
Yep.
You're talking about doing 15, 20 rounds in that straight, you know what I'm saying? 3 minutes a round.
Yeah.
Come on, 30 seconds rest. Yeah, okay.
Right. Do you feel like Tank took your advice on just keep yourself in shape throughout the year so you don't have to go to fat camp?
he really needs to. You know, I talked to him like once or twice about it, man. You know, these kids gonna do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And you know, I wish all the best for him because I love to do. I like to do. He did it. He does a lot of stuff that I've done, and you know, he looked at a lot of tapes of mine when he was growing up. So you know, a lot of his style is sort of like mine.
Yeah.
You know,
southpaw.
Yeah. So you know, I try to give him as much advice as I can, man. Just to even on the street level, you know, stay away from the big. I wasn't one of those kind of guys that when I was in my career had a whole bunch of entourage with me. I had 4 or 5 people with me. That was it. And all of them was either family or friends. And my friends, I got, man, I done had over 30 some odd years. You know, so, you know, I don't have no real new friends that just latch on. I don't have those kind of dudes.
Yeah.
I don't have yes boys. I have boys that tell me, you know, that's wrong, man. You know, that type of thing. And that's where I cut the line at.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of guys mess up, man, that come from these areas. What do you feel right now? So boxing, in my opinion, right now is very competitive. Every weight class, a lot of good guys. In your opinion, if you had to name 3 of the top boxers right now, in your opinion, who would you say they are?
Right now, that's still fighting. I think Errol Spencer's the best. I think in that weight class right now, I think he is. He that boy's special.
Yeah.
I think he's special. He can rock and roll, man.
Rumor has it he got kicked out of Floyd's camp because he was a little too relentless. Is that right? Is that true?
I don't know. That's funny because I haven't talked to Floyd in about a minute, but I'll end up talking to his manager a lot sometimes. But I don't know. And then I got a little guy coming up, so you know that's coming from DC too. That's gonna be pretty good too.
What's his name?
That Floyd Gray signed. I forget his freaking name.
It'll come. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So you got Errol and who else? Who's the other 2?
Man, you know who I like? I like Fury. Fury is tricky.
Okay.
Fury is tricky because he's slippery. He really can fight. He a silly white dude, but this motherfucker really can fight. And if he get a little bit more punch of power in him,
yeah,
he gonna be straight. I think he is. I think he's one of the better heavyweights right now. He is the better heavyweight. He's slippery and he gonna make you miss and stuff like that. And you know, he not scared.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems like he doesn't really sit on many of his punches. He likes to stay on his toes.
Because he's almost like a white Ali.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what he is. Yeah.
Right. That's a good analogy there.
Yeah, I like him, Earl Spence, and see, I don't really get to boxing ain't like it used to be, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really not like it used to be. So
it's hard to follow it these days too.
It's very hard to follow. I rarely watch it. And I watch people that interest me. You know, Tank. I love Tank. I think Tank is a hell of a fighter, right? I like for him to slow down just a little bit more and, you know, get a little bit more serious about his camps and stuff like that. Because you can really get these boys out of there. Really, nobody can really beat them. But I think the only problem he'll probably have trouble with is the little Russian kid. What's his name?
Lomachenko?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lomachenko just tricky,
man. Yeah.
I think get Tank a little bit about another year or so. I think he'll be ready for Lomachenko. Yeah.
Lomachenko's good, man. I want to see Lomachenko get some more primetime fights. See, it's not like when you fought. You guys just fought. You were like, let's just put him in front of me. These days, they got to put this whole business behind everything.
They want to pick and choose. And for us, like, look, they call me, you want to fight so-and-so? Man, I fight him. I don't care. Whatever. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I always just thought I was the best. So I didn't care who I fought. You know what I'm saying? And everybody had their doubts about who, my fighting. Like, people always doubted me what I could do and stuff like that. And I always say, you give me the chance. Just put me in there.
Yeah.
If you give me that chance, let me show you. I'm gonna show you.
Right.
When I fought for my first world title, Don didn't want to put me in there with him because the boy had just beat Frankie Randall. And Frankie Randall had just beat the greatest heavyweight, the greatest champion, Spanish. Come on, help me out.
It'll come. Not Chavez. No.
Chavez. Yeah, he had just beat Chavez.
Frankie
Randall. Frankie had just beat Chavez, and then the boy came and beat Frankie Randall. And I called Don on the phone, and I said, Don, can you please make that match, man? I will knock Slam out.
Yeah.
He said, man, I don't know about that, Sharmbe. I said, man, look, if I don't, you can keep 100,000. He made the fight. I went to camp. I went all the way over to London and beat him.
Yeah, that's when you won your title, right?
Yep. That's when I won my title. Yeah. I went all the way over there to get him. I didn't want anything easy.
Yeah.
Don't give me nothing easy.
Right. That's amazing, man. And I also saw that a lot of people don't know this, but you were on the undercard of Riddick Bowe and Ferguson, right?
Yep.
A lot of people forgot about that because of that. They put all the attention to that fight.
Well, I fought my man that was from here. I fought my man from DC.
On the undercard on that fight?
On the undercard, yeah. That is funny because he's married to my best friend right now too. That's crazy. Yeah. The dude, he married my best friend. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I fought him on that card. Yeah. I fought on that card. I fought
and you won that fight, right?
Yeah, I won that fight. I knocked out Kenny Bazemore on the first card at RFK Stadium when Roy Jones and what's called fought at RFK. Roy Jones and the old man.
Not you're not talking about James Toney.
No, not James Toney, just like James Toney. Look just like that.
Tarver?
No, not Tarver. not Tarver. The old man. He was like, what you call him? He fought until he was what, 60? He just retired. He just
Oh,
retired.
Hopkins.
Hopkins, Bernard. So
Oh, okay, I got you.
so that card right there, I knocked out Kenny Bazemore on that card.
Oh, all right. That's awesome, man.
I knocked out Kenny Bazemore on that card. And people don't even know. I was the first one to ever have a fight at Constitution Hall in DC. I was the first one to bring back live Showtime boxing to DC. I was the first one to have a fight at the Verizon Center. I was the first one to have a actual fight at the Verizon Center. I was the main event.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. That's why you're a legend. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I have a lot of firsts that happened with me in my camp. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, recently we see what Tank did, what he brought. He's trying to bring boxing back, bringing it to Oil Farms in Baltimore.
Right.
And then, with your contributions, with you doing that. Now, speaking of that, not a lot of fighters, and I always talk about this with any athlete. People say, athletes, they go broke and they make all these wrong decisions. And I say it mostly stems from work ethic, right? But you were actually one of the people that, obviously, you have a strong work ethic, and you actually done well for yourself post-boxing with some entrepreneurship.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that.
I've always tried. And to be honest with you, I probably have to mostly applaud my wife on that. Because, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for her, I probably... I don't, why? I don't even know. So I don't even want to think about it. But I'm going to say I'll probably applaud that to her because, she was one of those ones that always save and always looking for entrepreneurship. I was the person that, I was always into promotions and buying stuff, trying to get my own business and stuff like that. So my wife and I, we've had a lounge for 22 years now. We bought a lounge in 1999 in Baltimore and still have it.
What's the name of the lounge?
Buckets Lounge. It's on the east side, over by John Hopkins, over that area. We have that. I have a nonprofit organization that I deal with Kids DC. Talk to him sometimes about the life after, because they don't understand, like, the life after this right here, like, nobody gives you anything.
Right.
You take that money, that little bit of money you got, and spend it wisely. Trust me, and let it stretch for you, or put it away so when you turn a certain age, you'll have some money to go there. And then I always like to work. And I was when I was in college, I did an internship at a car dealership, right on in Catonville. So I went back to the business after 4 years after I retired.
Yeah.
So I went back to the car business. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I always love to do. I've been in sales. I've been a used car manager. I've been in finance. I go back to sales. I go back to sales because it gives me time to spend time with my young kids that I still have now. I got one daughter that's still in middle school. That's 12. So my other daughters that graduated, or they graduated from college and they grown and stuff like that. But I don't want to not spend that time with my youngsters, just like I didn't spend time with my older one.
Right.
They kind of resent me for that. So always kind of, stay on your feet and always try to make money some kind of way.
Yeah. And it's amazing because people don't realize, like, how old were you when you retired?
I retired when I was 35.
Yeah. So 35 is young. So you still got a lot of life to live. You still got to do stuff.
And it's funny because I tell people, I retired at 35. I was still young. I was bored as heck, man. I mean, bored. Like, I would ride around the Beltway, just had nothing to do. You calling bros and trying to figure out what's going on. They at work. And you like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to find something to do.
Yeah.
And that's what does it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just the way I love my life. I love to travel. I love to do things. So I don't have no problem with working. I ain't old. I can still walk and I can still do things. So, that's why, I go down to the gym. It gives me a chance to stay in shape, plus work, and and give a little knowledge.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And speaking of that, like it's it's all spreading love like that. In your opinion, what do you feel like the best reach right now for just community outreach in general? Not even just so much for athletes, just making our minority communities better. In your opinion, being somebody that's influenced so much of your communities in a positive way, what do you feel like the key is? What do you feel like the best antidote right now to provide to your communities?
Well, the best antidote is that everybody is equal.
Mm-hmm.
Put it like this. You can't really just see black. You just can't see white. You can't see just Spanish. Everybody is somebody.
Right.
Right? Just we grown as people. Treat with respect and and kind of go from there. And we can all unite it as one. We shouldn't, hating, ain't no racial, come on, man. We all put our pants on the same way.
Yeah.
We gotta do the same things. Your bank account might be bigger than mine, or my bank account might be bigger than yours. You never know, but guess what? We still all equal, man.
Right, right. Yeah, that's some good advice, man. That's real good advice. Well, I mean, that's really all I have, man. Is there anything else that you'd like to kind of throw out there for the people?
Nah, man. Everything is good, man. I think life is great. I turn 50 in next month, man, August 27th. So
nice.
I'm getting old, man.
Well, you still look young, man. You still look good. People got to come see you over at Title Boxing over in Owens Mill.
Absolutely. You might have to come in there and get some work in, baby.
Yeah.
Come on. Bring the muscle to the leg. During the muscle. I told you, wait, you got to